Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Play-by-Play with Truitt McGlone. Our guest today has never lost the sectionals wrestling tournament. Two-time state placer, 8th grade state runner-up, rock and roll cowboy Cannan Smith.
Thanks, Truitt.
You're welcome. So, Cannan, let's jump right into this. We don't have as much time as I had with Mason, so we're going to kind of fire out questions. I don't have any typed questions, so this is going to be kind of off the dome right away. You are a wrestler, and you kind of play football on the side.
Yeah.
Just something to do in the fall time. So let's jump into it. How has this season gone? How has your wrestling season gone this year?
It's going really well. I'm 35-1. We have leagues coming up on Saturday, and I'm hoping to end it 38-1, going to sectional tournament with only one loss.
And so that one loss, as we talk a lot, that one loss is from a guy out of state, right?
Yeah, Georgia State finalist, yeah.
The tournaments that you find those guys in, those are like, was that a school-related tournament? Because I know they kind of have like a travel thing that you've done. So where was that school-related tournament where you're wrestling out of state?
It was in Dayton. They invited some teams from Kentucky, 2 teams from Georgia. There's a few out-of-state teams. I don't know why, but some of these tournaments in the season have multiple national tournaments, and they just kind of bring all these kids in and just let them wrestle. Like Ironman, for example, that first tournament of the season.
Yeah.
All those teams are out of state. It's not just one Ohio team. Well, Ohio team tournament.
Okay, and so then, has that been your only out-of-state? Or you just mentioned the Ironman tournament. That's been, that was the first tournament of the year, right?
Yeah.
So you wrestled.
I wish I could go to Ironman, but my invite didn't get accepted. But yeah, that's my only out-of-state teams I've seen. Okay.
So I was actually wanting to take a deep dive into wrestling because I'm a guy that tried it in the 3rd grade. They were like, do some pull-ups. Now let's roll, and we were doing rolls, and I can't roll like forward, like I can't do a perfect somersault. So there was this bigger fella behind me. He was older, and when we went to roll, I didn't move, and the guy rolled on top of me. I cried. I went home, hated it. Never wanted to wrestle again. Now I've had the thoughts of wrestling because it does benefit football, and we'll get into that later, how wrestling's made you a better football player. But so I've never wanted to wrestle. I've never had really a desire, and also I'm just anxious. So I just want to know, the mental side of, probably the most physical high school sport.
Yeah.
Like you are literally grappling and even with Jet showed me some of his moves and collar tie. That crap hurts, dude. And so just walk me through what it's like to be involved in the most physical high school sport, and then also the mental preparations, especially for those big tournaments, as we talked about just a little bit ago, out of state. You don't know this guy because obviously within the conference you usually wrestle the same guy, but what's the mental side of wrestling?
People say like baseball and wrestling. I mean, baseball is a mental sport. It's wrestling. You have to dealing with like the emotions that you have, cutting weight. It's all mental. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the cut weight part sucks. But most of these people that like quit, they break up here first. They break mentally and they just hate the sport. I mean, we've seen me deal with it. I broke mentally bad sometimes. But yeah, it's just. It's tough. The whole thing, the biggest thing for mental is watching the kids wrestle. If you overanalyze, you can mess with your head a lot. I did that in the semis, the state tournament this year. Overanalyzed the kid, mentally screwed myself up before the match, and I went out, didn't wrestle my match, and I lost.
So, like, you're going into a big match like that, like a state match. Do you almost have like a clear head when you're there?
Yeah, well. This year, I've done a better job. I've told myself that you belong here. You're the best wrestler in the country right now, and I just keep repeating that self to me. And so far, it's shown. I mean, I haven't.
Not to brag, but you've been.
Yeah, I only have one loss on the season, and every single one has either been more a pin, or I've won by 8 or more points. So I have a 100% bonus rate in the sport, basically.
So what does that mean, except for the people like me and others at home that don't fully understand what, like, the certain terms of the sport? So what's a bonus? You say bonus points?
Yeah, so in duels, there's a decision. So if you win the match by, like, points, it's called a decision. A major decision is 4 points if you win by 8 or more. And then you have your tech fall, 15 or more. We were just talking about that earlier today. And you got your pin at 6.
Okay, so you got to keep almost like a clear head. You got to have a lot of confidence, and
Yeah,
that's common within high school sports.
Yeah, if you're not confident in any sport, you're not going to really succeed.
And that's the big thing. So another thing I was going to ask is, when I'm playing football or maybe even a little bit of baseball, what you do is kind of muscle memory, like the action. So if a guy's coming to block me, I'm gonna try to rip. I'm gonna try to get off of him, and I don't really think I'm not mentally there. Like, I'm gonna go rip on this guy. That's what I'm thinking before. So there's obviously countless wrestling moves. You're in countless positions. So is it just muscle memory, or do you kind of stop and think like, I'm gonna, ankle snatch this guy, or I'm gonna, do whatever move?
Yeah. I usually have some time to think. I usually go think a little bit through the match, but like most of it is muscle memory. Like if I feel a guy post on me, boom, high crotch. Don't even think, split second decision. When I catch myself thinking in matches, that's when things start going bad. They either score on me. It's a split second reaction. As soon as like if someone gives you something, boom, you got to go for it. You can't think that much during the match.
So when you say someone gives you something, can you like explain what you mean by that?
So my favorite shot's my high crotch.
What is that? For the people at home? I obviously, I'm a high crotch lover myself. Pause.
It's when you shoot. Well, when you shoot, but your head is going to be on the outside, and you're just basically bringing it off to a double leg, which that's kind of easy. You just grabbing both legs.
Yeah, double leg takedown.
Yeah. But when I have a really good setup to it. If the guy posts on my shoulder, I always swat the arm that he's coming up with, and then I post high crotch. So it's just like split second setups. You know what I'm saying?
So there's a little bit of hand fighting there.
Yeah, hand fight. Hand fight. You wait for them to make the mistake. That's what I like to do.
Mm-hmm.
I hand fight them. They make the mistake. I make them pay.
Okay.
Basically, yeah.
That makes sense. So let's continue. Let's move on a little bit. So I'm kind of almost restating myself in different ways. The state tournament, obviously, if you do not know, it's in the Schottenstein Center. If you don't know what that is, that's where Ohio State plays basketball. Big place, nice place. The biggest stage I've ever been on for sports is our home football stadium. I'm not the big guy that I don't play sports where you travel, or I've never made it to states and everything. I just want to know what that experience is like, what the energy's like, and wrestling in front of a big crowd like that and at such a huge stage. What is the approach?
Block it out. You got to block out the noise there. Freshman year, it was so overwhelming. Looking up, seeing I don't even know, 50,000 people I think was there. Maybe less, maybe 15,000 or something like that. Still, a sane number of people.
Yeah.
But you just kind of block them out. You can't think, just it's just another wrestling match. But sometimes it gets really overwhelming, especially when you have people screaming.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really cool to see, because when you're at the shot, everyone hates St. Ed's because they've won everything.
Yeah, they won. Yeah.
So whenever they lose, the whole shot goes nuts. It's loud. The whole place is bumping when that happens. So it's really cool to be in that atmosphere and kind of be a part of it too. You know what I'm saying? Getting hearing the cheers and all that, the boos. It's really surreal. So
if you guys watched the last one, I kicked off things with Mason and his recruiting. Obviously, he's committed to Ashland for baseball. He's a 2025, so he kind of has to commit. He signed his letter of intent, if you guys didn't know that. But so with you, me and you, obviously, we're pretty good friends, pretty close friends. We have talked about our personal recruitings. I just want to know kind of a deep dive, what you can share, what, if there's things that you can't say, that's fine. But we've talked, you've had visits, so just let me tell me a little bit about your recruiting process as of right now as a junior in your wrestling season.
It's on and off. I mean, you got your moments where you got your phone ringing off the hook, especially the first day, June 15th. I might have got 5-6 calls maybe from coaches. It's really cool, honestly. I really like the recruiting process. But so far it's going really well. I have a bunch of MAC schools contacting me.
Okay.
We've talked about what they want to give me to. I don't know if I can disclose that or not. But it's just, I don't know, it's just cool to be a part of, watch, meet the coaches, see what their approach is on what their philosophy is, how they carry themselves. And honestly, some of these coaches that I've like grown up watching, it's really cool getting to talk to them actually.
Yeah. Well, you know, even for me, like I just took a junior day visit to Kent State, and that was just something I never even thought of. College football's been a big part of my life, and so to go there and talk to these coaches and then, you know, meet all these people and go on the field, it's definitely a surreal experience. And it also means you're getting older, and it's a good feeling when you know those people are kind of reaching out. They're like, hey, we like you.
Yeah.
And so you obviously have had, you know, you said MAC schools.
I've had 2 big schools, well, kind of contact me, Michigan and NC State. Both their head coach and NC State's associate head coach follows me. I've been trying to get into contact with them. Ohio State's head of recruitment follows me. But, yeah.
So we've talked about this. What is your big school? Like, what school do you want to go to?
I've always dreamed of wrestling for the Buckeyes, even though I'm a Notre Dame fan, but I've always dreamed about wrestling in the Scarlet and Gray. Or I've always seen myself in the black and gold too of the Iowa Hawkeyes. I don't know, any school that I know I will get better at and I'll be able to live out my dream of wrestling as an international wrestler, and they're just going to keep getting me better. That's where I want to go. I want to go somewhere that's going to make me a better person and a better wrestler.
So, you know, you mentioned Iowa and Ohio State, so the Big Ten is really the goal, kind of.
Big Ten is 100% the goal.
And then you said, so to kind of break that down for people like me and other people, international wrestler, is that Olympic? Is that like you just kind of, you know, how does that work?
They got a bunch of tournaments and stuff. They got the Olympic Games every 4 years. They got the World Championships every year. Then they got like small little international tournaments that kind of get you like known, I should say, and get you matches. They today it's going on still. They got the Zagreb Open in Croatia. It's a ranking series, and they kind of like they got rankings in international, but it's like by points of like who you've beat and all that. It's
Okay.
yeah.
So what is the biggest? You know, you said the World Championship. I'm new to this. Is the World Championship the actual World Championship? Is it the Olympic gold medalist every 4 years? Because when I hear wrestlers, I hear like Gable Stevenson and, you know, maybe Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
Kurt Angle broke his neck, won a gold medal. So is that Olympic gold better than that World Championship title?
Olympic gold is 100% better than the world. There's different weight classes. The Olympic has its own weight classes, and the world has more weight classes. But it's basically the same people wrestling.
Okay.
Olympics again, but maybe at a heavier weight class, lighter weight class. It just depends on what the guy's going. But Olympic gold is far more prestigious than a world medal. Well, world gold, I should say.
And so is the ultimate like dream goal Olympic gold for you?
Yeah, I want to be an Olympic champ so bad.
It's
the
I mean,
goal.
that'll be crazy. I fully support. I love the Olympics. You know, that's summer, right?
Yeah.
Summer Olympics are awesome.
Yeah.
Everything. You turn that on, it's like you're in the summer. You need something to watch, or not a lot of sports. You know, I watch a little bit of baseball, but then you got all these cool games like freaking badminton.
Yeah, you get to learn new sports too.
It's
You've never
awesome.
known
It's awesome. So, kind of last question to wrap up wrestling here, and then we might discuss other topics. You personally, right now, as we mentioned, your record, you're what, 36-1, 35-1. You are nearing FACs, and you are nearing sectionals and districts. And I mentioned you've never lost sectionals. You've never lost FACs. I probably should have mentioned that as well. What is your path to winning state this year? You know, finally bringing home that state title that you've been so close to since
Yeah.
you were, what, 8th, 7th
eighth
grade?
Yeah.
8th grade?
Eighth grade was as close as I've been so far.
So what do you think your path is? And, what are the steps you have to take to bring home that state title to beautiful Chillicothe, baby?
I have to stay out of my own head. I have to stay clear-minded. At districts especially, I'll have a pretty good kid maybe in the semis or the finals. But
For
I know,
districts?
Yeah. I know for a fact I got one of the toughest districts in the state right now. 7 top 25 kids in the state at 132. It's gonna be really good. I'm excited for that. Then state, I have to beat 2 state champs to win a state title.
So it
returning
is
state
literally
champs.
the Rocky story.
Yeah. I gotta depends on which one. I don't really care which one, because I know I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna beat them and I'm gonna bring home a state title for Chillicothe.
Like, yeah, you are. So you skip right past FACs and sectionals, obviously, because hopefully, not jinxing, you're going to breeze through those
Yeah.
districts. You're going to have that little bit of competition.
Yeah.
And then state, it's all or nothing.
Yeah.
So you have, freshman year, you were 113. And then what were you last year?
132.
So you're same class.
Yep.
And so you're confident at 132. Because I remember early in the season, you were debating, 138?
Yeah. That's just because I thought this kid was going to go up to 44, and I thought my cut was going to be bad. Well, I was also considering 26, because if you can remember, I could make 126. I thought about that.
Yeah.
And we realized I might die if that happens.
You might die. Cannan lunch is...
Lunch is our favorite period, if you didn't know that. It's fun.
I am a little hard on Cannan about not eating, because I can't stop eating. If I don't have... I take protein bars to school, because if I can't have a snack... But you also got to think, we have breakfast at 8:15 and then lunch too is at 1.
Like 1, yeah.
Okay, you can't blame me, I'm a bigger boy. And so, cutting weight, I couldn't. That's another part I was talking about. I couldn't wrestle. I could not cut weight. And I would get my butt kicked at 215, which is probably what I would be able to cut down to. So you are very confident winning the state title, and I'm very confident in you. Being around you since 7th grade even, when you broke your foot.
Yeah, that sucked. That wasn't fun.
But big question, so you've wrestled your whole life, you've played football, you love football. How does wrestling translate to the football world, and do you think wrestling has made you a better football player?
I agree. It 100% has. If you see my tackling form when I'm not scared, like the first 4 weeks, it really helps the tackling form, knowing where your head's at, how to apply force going into another force, and like having the mental edge, thinking, I wrestle, I know I'm better than this kid.
Yeah.
Blocking. I mean, we have Connor Rutherford. Wrestling right now, and I think he's going to be a better lineman because he's learning how to use his hands, use his arms, use his whole body and use his feet. I think it helps with feet movement, just athletic ability
and obviously that aggressiveness.
Yeah, and the aggressiveness too is 100%.
Because you're just tearing each other apart. But football. I feel like you split it in half, and you have the kids that wrestle and you have the kids that don't, and I've always been the kid that doesn't. And to be honest, it does feel like I'm a little bit behind because you are an undersized guy.
Yeah.
Not the tallest in the bunch, and I've never made fun of you for that. But I think that wrestling ability, if you came into football without what you said, where to put your head, the aggressiveness, knowing that you're better, you can take them down, you get low because of that wrestling skill. I think if you didn't have that, you might not even be the football player you are.
No, I don't think I would have been on varsity this year at all. I don't think I would have played safety. I don't think I would have seen the field at all. I probably would have played JV.
And so to have that edge, it definitely is huge. And to not only just wrestle, but to be the wrestler, the wrestling caliber of you, I think definitely boosts you up. And I've seen you tackle some big guys, I've seen you tackle some little guys, and I think that's what makes you a great dual sport athlete, because your sports benefit each other.
Yeah.
Because then there's also some football benefits. Football, it's almost like the warm up to wrestling.
Yeah.
You're hitting guys, you're smashing guys, you're lifting, you're running all summer, and I think that might help you a little bit in the long run for wrestling. even with the risk of injury. Because I
Yeah.
think that's been a big thing for you. That's why you didn't wrestle sophomore year. You
Well,
were
play
nervous.
football
Or play
sophomore year.
football, I
Yeah.
meant.
I was scared to get hurt. I don't know. I don't know why I didn't play. I regret it. I really regret not playing sophomore year.
All right, well, thank you, Cannon. That's all the time we have. I appreciate you. Love sports.